How's it going, everybody? Schuyler, Callihan with another episode of Between the Ears. And no, that is not Christopher Hall. That is the legendary West Virginia running back himself, Eugene Napoleon. Had to get my dude back on here for his first appearance of the season here on Between the Ears. And yes, he's going to be back with me for the Walkthrough Game Day show again this year. We've been doing it, Gene, for 5-6 years now, it seems like. So it's a lot of fun. If you haven't heard of it, or if you're just kind of new to the channel, be sure to check it out every Thursday during the football season. Our first episode, our season premiere, if you will be on August 29th, where Gene and I will break down West Virginia, Penn State, along with our predictions at the end, which is always fun because I'm coming back for it this year, Gene. I'm winning it. This is 2 damn years in a row where you've got that title over me, and I'm sick of it. So I'm getting that thing back. But anyways, today, what we're going to talk about is the college football playoff and whether or not this is the expectation for West Virginia because you're coming off a 9-win season. It feels like you have momentum rolling in your direction. You have a lot of depth coming back on both sides. But there's also that worry that this year's a little bit of a tougher slate, a tougher road. But with more open slots to get to the playoff, it feels like there's more of a path. So, Gene, question is very simple, and we'll get into this discussion. Is it playoffs or bust for the Mountaineers in 2024?
Well, let me say this. With 12 potential slots, one would think if we couldn't get in, if WVU couldn't get in, with 12 slots open, I would think the fans they would probably lose their mind. Because they would say, wait a second, years past, the path has been real difficult, but now we have 12 potential spots. How is it that we would potentially miss a playoff system with 12 potential spots open? Okay. I would have to say it would, it's got to be honest. Yeah, for me, I would be very, very upset. Scale of 1 to 10, I'll probably be at 20. if
Pulling your hair out. Oh wait.
I will throw it just to pull it out. If our Mountaineers did not secure one of those 12 spots, I can't lie. So yeah, for me, I would say it's playoffs or bust because there's 12 spots, 12 opportunities.
Yeah.
Now, as we get into it, there's a lot that can happen, as we were talking off the air. So let's break it down.
Yeah. So with this 12-team format, if you're kind of unfamiliar with it, we'll give you the quick rundown here. So you're going to have the 12 spots, like we said, the 4 conference champions, aka the ACC champ, Big 12, SEC, and Big 10. Those will be the top 4 seeds. Regardless of what their record is, it doesn't matter. If you're the Big 12 champion, you're 9-4. Say you went 9-3, or excuse me, 8-4 in the regular season. You somehow got to the Big 12 championship game. You won. You're 9-4. You're going to be the number 4 seed, even if there's 8 teams behind you that have a better record. Excuse me. So those are your top 4. If you have any teams ranked in the top 4, say you get an SEC team that's a Georgia going up against Alabama. Georgia loses. That's their only loss of the season, but they're not a conference champ. They're automatically going to be number 5 if they are the highest ranked within that top 4. And it just pretty much goes on from there. It's basically like the college basketball tournament. You have at-large bids. But the caveat is now we are including the group of 5 in all this. So it's the highest ranked group of 5 champion will be included in this playoff. So that means, Eugene, that your son, Brandon Napoleon, and Rich Rod down there at Jacksonville State, if they have a special year, could find themselves playing in the college football playoff.
Yes, they could. And I, for one, would be ecstatic to see that.
Yeah. And how cool would it be to see Jacksonville State, maybe West Virginia gets in, they go ahead again. If that happens, Gene, West Virginia, Jacksonville State somehow match up in the college football playoff.
Yes.
What's the rooting interest going to be for that one?
So here's the deal. Then I'm going to have to get a special shirt made. And on one side, it'll have WVU or WV. On the other side, it'll have Jack State.
Well, either way, you're going to be very happy and very pissed at the same time. So,
Yeah, it'd be quite interesting. But I'm gonna tell you, uh, nothing is off the table here because of the formatting as you just laid out. The scary part about this is imagine if one of or two of these Power Four conferences have multiple teams that take up multiple potential spots.
and they will.
So could
Absolutely.
you imagine if the SEC had the kind of year that they had last year? You may have three teams in from the SEC.
Yeah.
If the Big Ten has three teams, which is crazy, like they did last year, no one will be out in this particular new format. That's another three slots. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be scary. Not even talking about obviously the ACC. You know, you may if all of a sudden Florida State gets on a run, Clemson gets on a run, and that would really be interesting because that eats up a lot of spots. And then, like we just said, you would have to allot one spot for, as you just stated, a group of five champion that would be in there automatically because they are a champion. Dude, that gets a little bit dicey.
Oh yeah, it does. And I don't know if it should be the expectation that West Virginia should get to the playoffs, and if they don't, it's a letdown. I don't know about all that, but
Right.
it starts with getting to the Big 12 championship. If you don't do that, then I find it very hard to believe that the Big 12 is going to be a three bid league team or a three bid league. Unless there's a perfect team that goes 12-0 in the regular season, you have another one that goes 11-1, one goes 10-2, and maybe the 10-2 somehow loses the tiebreaker and they're in the championship game instead of the 11-1 team. That's
Yeah.
really the only way that I see it happening. I don't think they're going to get that same love that, say, the SEC is going to get because we all know that the SEC has a lot of bias. The Big Ten's
Yeah.
got a lot of bias. So I think the Big 12 is kind of third on that pecking order. And the way I look at it is you've got to get to your championship game. Whatever league you're in, if you just get to your championship game, you're going to be in the conversation because more than likely, let's just say it splits out evenly, which it probably never will, but you have the four major conferences. You take two from each league, that's eight. You have the G5 champ, that's nine. Then you have three
Right.
leftovers. Obviously, there's going to be some teams that have, or some leagues that have a third or maybe even a fourth team. So getting to the Big 12 championship game has to be the number one goal for WVU. Is it possible? I mean, that stretch that we've talked about numerous times is going to be the defining factor of whether they can get there or not. They open up Big 12 play with a brutal 5 game stretch where they play Kansas, Oklahoma State, Iowa State, Kansas State, Arizona, and then it starts to get a little bit lighter towards the back end. They don't get through that stretch, what, 4-1 or better? It's going to be tough to get a spot in Dallas.
You have to get through that stretch. I don't think, and this is being realistic, you have to get through that stretch 4-1. You can't get
At
through that
worst.
stretch at worst. You can't get through that stretch 3-2 because 3-2 it doesn't work because you're going to have some games where it's a long season. It's a brutal season, unfortunately, and it doesn't just happen just at WVU. It happens everywhere because football is a brutal sport. So you're going to have injuries. Unfortunately, it's just the way it works. I've never seen a season where you didn't have an injury or
Yeah.
two, right? So you got to keep that into and take that into consideration as well. You have to get through that stretch 4-1 at worst 4-1. I agree with you. You have to because of everything else I just laid out. Um, do I expect WVU to be in the hunt for a conference championship? Listen, dude, yeah, honestly, I do. With the talent that we have coming back, with the quarterback that we have coming back, with the scheme, I believe we're going to be much better than what people expect on defense. I really believe that. With the ability to have some serious, really solid to excellent, solid to good special teams play, I think, yeah, I'm personally feeling that way. I just told somebody here in New Jersey who's a big Rutgers fan that I bet them a stake that we'll have a better record than Rutgers. right?
That's a yearly thing with you and your guy, though.
It
And
really
and,
is.
and it seems like you've been eating a lot of steak over the last few years.
A lot. Yes, sir. So, and I don't think this year will be any different.
Yeah.
He says Rutgers should go 9-3. I said, well, West Virginia should go 10-2. If you telling me Rutgers is going to go 9-3, then we're going 10-2.
I need whatever he's drinking on Friday nights because it's got to be pretty darn good. But yeah, I don't
Yes.
know. I mean, I do feel like this is the most talented team that Neil's had at West Virginia. I think it's the deepest team that he's had really on all sides of the football, offense, defense, special teams. But again, that schedule is on paper, it looks challenging. But like he said at his opening press conference at fall camp, like a lot of people were kind of complaining about the schedule going into last year. Everyone said, "Oh, they got Penn State, and then they got the backyard brawl. They have Texas Tech was preseason top 25, TCU, da 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 da." And guess what happened? All those teams turned out to not be as good as we all thought. And then
Absolutely.
everyone at the end of the season said, "Oh, look, they had 9 wins. It wasn't that challenging of a schedule." So we don't really know until we know. So I think just taking this team for what it should be a team that, at the very worst, should be in the top 4 of the Big 12. It's what they finished last year. I think
Right.
that's kind of the goal, finish in the top 4 or better and fight for a spot to be in Dallas at the end of November. That's where you wanna be. You wanna be playing meaningful football in late November. And
Absolutely.
guess what? If you fall a little bit short of the playoffs, it's not the end of the world, in my opinion, because this isn't a team that nationally is being talked about as the front runner in the Big 12 or anything like that. So, in my opinion, it's not like, yeah, if they don't get there this year, they never will under Neil Brown. It's
Right.
another step. The next step for this team isn't to make the massive jump from 9 wins to the playoffs, although that would be nice and it's possible. It's how do you get to that 10th and 11th win? How do you get from being a 9 win team or an 8 win team in the regular season to getting to the Big 12 championship game? That's the next step of taking this program to where it needs to be.
So think about it this way, as you just laid out, which is brilliantly done. Brilliant. So could you imagine you win 8 regular season games? If the next step is how do you get to that 9 or 10th regular season win, you're talking about 2 games.
That's it. No
You're
Hail
talking
Marys, no
no.
running into your punt returner, and maybe they're there. Maybe.
So you're talking about 2 games. If
Yeah.
if we're comparing apples to apples, right? Okay. The reason why I say I'm looking at they should be focused on the playoffs this year is because for the same reasons you laid out. It's the deepest team Neil Brown has had. I personally believe at every position it may be the most talented. Depth does equal talent when you have good players behind the starters, right?
Mhm.
So I think this is a really talented ball club, barring injuries, barring major injuries, barring massive mistakes, barring any type of things that could implode on you during the regular season. There is no feasible way why West Virginia can't win at least 9 regular season games with this schedule. See, I'm old school, Scholar. You know that. I don't care what these so-called experts are talking about
Yeah.
because they're always wrong. The year we played for the national championship with 11-0, we wouldn't even talked about it all.
No. No.
So, yeah, with all that nonsense, we have a chance to do something really special. And I do believe this is the team to start Neil Brown's success run for a long tenure in Morgantown with this particular roster of talent. I really believe that. There's no doubt. Yeah, and I know I'm going to sound, oh my God, this guy, he's loves West Virginia so much. We should win 9 to 10 football games. I believe that. We
Yeah.
have put it, we have the talent to do it. I'll say that.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it, it's not all that far fetched. I mean, they won 9 games a year ago when you entered the season with quarterback situation. You didn't really know about what Garrett Green was going to give you, and then a couple of games into the year, he goes down early against Pitt in the backyard brawl. You had your backup win that game. He had your backup win the next game, and you bring pretty much everybody back outside of Doug Nestor and Zach Frazier. So yeah, I mean, you bring all that back, you add some pieces on top of it, you should theoretically be better. But we'll see. I think it's going to be interesting. I think it would also be really cool to see what Morgantown would be like hosting one of those on-campus college football playoff games. My goodness, Gene, that blue lot would be popping. My goodness,
Well,
that'd be a lot of
I can
fun.
see right now, God willing, from your lips to God's ears, if that's the case, I'm in the blue lot, buddy. I will
Okay,
meet
hey,
you.
I'll meet you there. We'll call it a date. We'll meet.
Absolutely.
We maybe even do a live show for the pregame.
Oh, we
So
go. Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk. Matter of fact, where's my calendar? Let me on my palm. Let me tell you that
get that
is.
penciled in there, and then by the time the end of the November comes around, we'll go and Sharpie that in.
Absolutely.
So we'll see. But let us know your thoughts in the comment section if you're watching here on YouTube. Is it playoffs or bust for the West Virginia Mountaineers in 2024? Make sure you hit the subscribe button here on our YouTube page at West Virginia on SI. Follow us on X at SI_WVU. And again, season premiere of the Walkthrough Game Day Show, August 29th. My guy, Eugene, Napoleon, and myself will be breaking down West Virginia's season opener against the Penn State Nittany Lions. So for Eugene, Napoleon, I'm Schuyler Callihan. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you back here on Tuesday.